to the Nepal Bharat Library and share their unique voices and views. And this is a very unique conversation. As a medium is a unique thing which brings out the best in writers and listeners as well. I mean, they get to listen to the unique perspectives from the writers, what goes in writing, how fiction is made, how characters come up, how they become alive. So Conversations is a monthly program which happens at the last day of every month in Nepal Bharat Library. And next month in March we are going to have new writers talking to.
And that goes down really well. And as for my reading habit, I dropped out of school. And I was lucky my mother read a lot. And she was a very gifted poet and a writer herself. And that I have them. Okay, it would begin with Charles Dickens, Great Expectations. Then I have, it'll be there, I can pick up anytime, I will go back to a certain passage, read. So these are my very, very prized possession. So, when I was writing Loyals of the Crown, it was a period fiction. I read a lot of period fiction at that time. So I read a lot of Anthony Trollope. And Asian writers, I read a lot of Pakistani writers, Danial Moinuddin, Mohammad Hanif, and a lot of Anta Desai is my all-time favorite. And I do not know, latest 2 books that I have read from India are from The Happiness of Others. So these are 2 very beautiful books that I've recently read.
Writing, your female protagonists are more liberal than the male counterparts who seem to follow the stereotypes, patriarchal, demanding respect and authoritarian, even in Anita Desai's novels. So, is there a kind of influence, are you influenced with her writing style?
I find women more interesting than men, but it is, I see very few of them here today. But
All right, tell me, share with us what kind of subjects interest you, and are there any characters?
My characters are alive, and I pick up characters from around me. If I could be walking on the road and I see somebody interesting, a girl, maybe just the eye, and then I start weaving. I make a character first, I make the characters alive, and then putting my characters there, I weave a story around those characters. So that's my way. And it's going to be titled The Other Queen. I just read a little passage. It wasn't even a passage. It was just a sentence or 2 about the queen, the second queen of King Rajendra Shah. And it said that she held fond sentiments for Gagan Singh, Basnet. So now that got me thinking, and just that sentence, I said, what kind of a person was she? I started imagining her life, I said, a queen, she's got everything. And then I created a story around it. And then my first novel, that's how it came. It has to be fast, and there has to be, whatever goes, the spices required in there have to be there. But for me, I'm more of a philosophical writer than just a storyteller. I analyze a lot, I go into retrospective, and then I look at it from hindsight, then I come back again. So I play around with time a lot, and more than that, I think I go really deep into characters and make them think, make them ask questions.
So bored with our conversation, tedious conversation, monotonous way thing going on. So I just want to let you all know that we'll be having an interaction section, 15 minutes for you all to, if you have any queries later on. I don't know how many of you have read Shiba Shah. So I just want to get into her novels, not much into it, but I want you all to read actually. And talking about Beyond the Illusions, sex in this book is taken into a completely different level, and it is, the mysticism of Tantrism is, once you read this book, you really, it really sends shivers down your spine. There's something that I wrote up and marking my books, making smileys and all. I just make my books very dirty. And I remember when I read this book, I wrote, "Beyond the Illusion takes the readers into the dark and mystic world of Tantrism, blending erotic ecstasy, sexual slavery, and rampant religious rituals. Tainted tantric temptations too. You have many times written in your articles that you have been a worshipper of Kali, and then in this novel too, Kali is worshipped in order to awaken the Kundalini that lies latent within each one of us. So you seem to have done enough research before writing this novel. And what interested me was that the 13 chapters you have named in this novel, I know very few things about this, so I want you all, I want you to tell, why you chose the chapters, namely Niyati, the first chapter, Kala, Raga, Vidya, Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara, Sadashiv, Ishwar, Shadvidya, Shiva Sakti, Nirguna Brahman, and the Mahabindu. So this itself, the topics, the names of the chapter itself, dark and mystic world, there's something more than just sex.
Yes, beyond the illusions is all about, finding the eternal God in you and joining with the Supreme and becoming the Supreme Lord oneself, but doing that through a tantric sexual rite, ritual. So each chapter, it begins with how the Niyati is how it started, then it goes to Kala, then it goes to Raga, and you will have to get this book, read it, and to know more about it. I'm not going to tell you more about the book.
All right, I'll begin with this book. All right. So, can you share how this topic actually enthused, you to write about Tantrism?
Part seems more prominent, but the next book that I'm writing
justified Kanchan Maharani's liaison with Gagan Singh Basnet. So, are you in a way trying to defend them?
Then the publisher starts, having, they have this own demands then out of the writer. I want to take you out of the country. This market is not enough for me. And if this market is not enough for me, then maybe you should add this in your writing.
In the Nepali market.
Yes.
Have you ever thought of
Velali in Dhanwadi, which shares boundary with India. So a night bus and traveling a 12-hour journey and reaching Kathmandu to a good convent school. At home,